Well, we're getting a little bit closer to rolling this thing out the door, but before we do, we've got a few more things to finish on this truck. The air compressor came in yesterday, and we're going to be replacing that next. As well, we want to direct our attention towards that transmission oil change. And a few things I want to mention about that oil change. First of all, it's very expensive. I mentioned in an earlier video that doing the due diligence to find out when that was done is a good idea before you buy any truck. Now this one is due for an oil change. We budgeted that into our build cost. The primary cost of the oil change is the oil. And if you were to go buy the oil from Volvo, it is crazy expensive. It's somewhere in the range of $30 a liter. And we need around 20 liters. And with some research, we found an alternative, and I'm going to show it to you now. What we've located is an alternative oil source. Castrol, of course, is a very well recognized oil. It is a synthetic oil designed for Volvo transmissions. And if you look at the use or the intentions of how this oil is supposed to be used, it exactly meets the Volvo oil that you would get from the dealership. We're very comfortable using this oil, and the nice thing about it is it's a third the price of the Volvo stuff. So this is what we're going to be putting into Jack's truck.
That's nice. Not that big.
Right before Kevin starts refilling the transmission, there's a couple things that we wanted to mention to you. There is a filter that needs to be replaced on the transmission at the same time. And for determining the level, there is a sight glass just on the other side of the frame, on the side of the transmission, so it's really facing us. There's a little sight glass that'll let you know when the oil level gets to the right height. So Kevin's going to do that now. We'll try to get the camera underneath there to show you what that sight glass looks like. Okay, we're coming in from the passenger side of the truck and looking right up there. There's the sight glass on the, I guess it's facing out towards the DPF. Now we're back on the driver's side of the truck here. I'm going to show you where that filter goes. There. Grab that bottom out and put in the new cartridge filter.
Yeah, that is lovely. Whenever you change a fluid that has a filter especially, wherever the filter went into, screwed onto, whatever, you should always clean it off. Because you're going to have contaminants left in all the time that don't come out with the filter. That's just the way it is. So you don't want to leave them in there. You don't want the old oil to be in there. So you want to make sure you get rid of everything. You know, your filter, this is what centers it. This is part of it. You want to make sure you clean this off too. It doesn't look like there's anything on there. There can be lots of little particles of gunk inside that old oil, and as soon as you start it up, you're just going to pump that into your new filter and kill half its life. So whenever you're doing any fluid change at all, you want to make sure first thing when you're draining the oil is get rid of all the oil in it. Don't just wait till it's leaking a little bit. Make sure it all comes out. Second off, clean any filter housings. Change your filters every time you change your oil on anything. There's no sense putting new oil, old filters. And lastly, make sure when you're done that you clean all the oil off the outside of the transmission, because if you don't know whether or not it's leaked from there or it's just oil you've put there. So you want to make sure that everything's clean when you send it out, so that if it does leak, you can see where the leak's coming from instead of leaving your oil, and you really have no idea after that. There's a bunch of little particles in the old oil in there that you can really see inside the oil.
You can see little
yeah,
pieces of
and
metal
that's
suspension in there.
And that's not anything bad on the transmission. That's normal wear. That's just what gears do when it's metal on metal. But you don't want to be putting that back into a new filter, because you'll start the filter off by plugging it. So something like this, you want to give it a clean first, and then you want to take it over to a parts washer, wash it, and blow dry it off. Make sure you get everything out of it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. You can see there on the finished product, there's no oil left over, no particles all over it. It's nice, it's clean. When you put that filter back in, it's going to start a new life all over again. Yeah. Well. Yeah, you're good. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Got this little bottom part where a bolt hole is in. Yeah. There's a bolt hitting it in its way. So I don't know where that bolt hole is.
Okay, Kevin's got it in there. You look at the nice new shiny black paint back there. There it is. He's got a few lines to hook up, but that should be taken care of. If you ever find over time that your air conditioning or your heater is just not blowing very much air, it's very likely that your environmental cab air filter has gotten plugged. Just wanted to show you quickly where those were located. Here on the passenger side, if you open up the hood, it's right up on top, right in front of the windshield, below the windshield wiper. I'll show you how to gain access to it. So I'm up on top of the truck facing the passenger seat now, and there's two metal clips on top of this grill that you need to release. And when you lift this lid off, there's a rubber gasket in there. Always pay attention to the way that goes. The lid of the filter or cover that we just took off here goes inside that rubber gasket, so just watch how that comes out. And then underneath this flap is where the air filter is. So I need two hands for this, but you have to hold this back, pull it out. Of course, it is cardboard, so when I put this one back in, I'm going to be careful that I don't crush the cardboard filter. You can see that one was pretty dusty. We're getting another delivery this morning. Here are the seats. I wanted to show you, they did a really nice job on these seats. They even put those little panels on the back for accent. If you look at the stitching, there's just a little bit of fuzz on it, but even some nice stitching on the seats and on the backs. They look really nice. Well done.